Hi everyone, welcome again to another Teacher Joseph video clip. Today we're going to talk about an interesting news story, and it's all about a woman, a British woman, who's worried about her accent. It's a really interesting story. We're going to read through it and we're going to learn a little bit more about why she's upset about the accent she has. Let me just give you some background first. So, people here, sometimes accents are associated with bad behavior. For example, strong Scottish accents sometimes make English people a little bit uncomfortable because Scottish people are known for drinking too much, especially in history. These things, though, don't really apply today because Scottish people and Irish people, as well as the Welsh, they are very proud of being different from England. So they encourage people to be a little bit different. Some people, though, especially older people, don't like to hear strong accents, and it can cause some problems sometimes, especially amongst people who are very, very well educated. So that's what we're going to look at now. So let's go to the story. Right, and here is the story. You should be able to see this now. It says UK's hierarchy of accents. I thought mine made me sound stupid. Now, I have to say, unfortunately, this isn't the first time I've heard people saying this. There's a lot of people out there who are greatly discriminated against because of the way they speak. Now, for those of you who know me, you know that I love different accents, but there are some that make me very uncomfortable. It's not really about the accent, it's more about how colloquial the person is. So, for example, someone who uses colloquial language, sometimes I think, I'm not sure I want to be close to that person because they don't sound educated. This is about a woman, this story, who went to university. We're going to read what she has to say. Now, people here don't all speak London. We don't all speak with London accents. We don't all speak London-ish, if I can call it that. That's not really a term, by the way. We would say London accents. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what she says. UK's hierarchy of accents. I thought mine made me sound stupid. And she says, her name is Beth Bedell. She began to feel self conscious about her accent when she started university. And there's a picture of her there. We can see. Okay, so let's go through it. It says, and if you want to shadow with me or practice your accent, remember deep breath in, head down, legs apart, and you want to be repeating after me. Okay, so before she started university, Beth Bedell had never really thought about her Black Country accent. In case you're wondering, the Black Country is the Midlands around Birmingham. We call it the Black Country because it was very, very industrial. But when she started attending seminars during her undergraduate course at Durham University in 2022, she began to feel self conscious and avoided speaking up in front of the other students. Beth from Sandwell in the West Midlands recalls a privately educated student once telling her, "You don't sound like you're from a private school." Now, I don't know what course she was doing, Okay, but it sounds like she was amongst people who came from a different background. Most of our universities now don't face that problem, but depending on the course you're doing, you could face that problem. For example, doctors, um, teachers, maybe people who perhaps come from a wealthy family. I mean, I didn't, but people who did, they sometimes have very strange attitudes towards people like Beth. So it says here, when she replied, telling him she went to a state school, he said, "Oh, you must be intimidated by us and how we speak." So when he says us, it sounds like there were a lot of people from private schools at this particular university. And it says here, like Beth, many university students have high levels of accent based anxiety, according to a 2022 report on accents and social mobility by sociolinguists for the Sutton Trust. I don't know what the Sutton Trust is. It's obviously people who produced a report about this. Then it says more than a third of over 1,000 university students surveyed said they felt self conscious about their accent, and 47% said they'd had their accent mocked, criticized, or commented on in a social setting. Yeah, that part I can understand. In fact, those of you who know me, you know that I'm currently going to university as well. And I can't speak like this at university because they would laugh at me because I'd be sounding English. So I'm at a Scottish university online. So I have to really try to force myself to have a strong Scottish accent to make myself sound local. And I don't like doing that, but I know that if I speak differently, I'm not really going to have so many friends there. So I understand more about Beth because I want to fit in with these people. Just to show you what a Scottish accent's like, I'm going to read the next paragraph in a Scottish accent so you can hear. Now, my parents were Scottish, and I had a very strong Scottish accent until I was 10 or 11. So let's try. This is the Scottish accent. More than a third of over 1,000 university students surveyed said they felt self-conscious about their accent, and 47% said they'd had their accent mocked, criticised, or commented on in a social setting. Okay, let me just repeat that in an English accent. I'd be more comfortable with that. More than a third of over 1,000 university students surveyed said they felt self conscious about their accent, and 47% said they'd had their accent mocked, criticised, or commented on in a social setting. So there we are. You can hear there that there's a big difference between Scottish and the London accent. And that's why you must begin to decide on a place and make that place your place of learning. If you like London, go for London media. If you like Scotland, go for the Scottish media. But when you start shadowing with American stuff, British stuff, London stuff, Scottish stuff, Australian stuff, your accent's going to get into a bit of a mess. So it's better to choose one place, the place that you want to be associated with, the place you identify with. And from there, look at the rest of the world. So when I watch an American drama and I don't understand some of their idioms, I don't say, "Oh, my English is terrible." What I say is, "Well, they're American. They speak differently from me. This is my patch, my place." And that's what you must do. Don't try to learn English from everywhere in the English world. Because if you try that, you're going to have a big, big job in your hands. Because even I don't understand everything. My goodness me. Put me with an Australian for 5 minutes and I'll be, what? Huh? Bobby? Well, Barbie? What's isn't that a doll? Oh, barbecue. Oh no, I didn't know. Right, let's continue. Okay, so in the first year, I missed a lot of seminars and workshops because I was so scared to go in and actually have to give an opinion on something because I always felt what I was going to say was going to be wrong, the 21-year-old says. A lot of it did come down to the accent. And she says she felt her fellow students would take her opinions less seriously and that she was perceived as stupid. Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I agree with her on that, but I think she has a problem because she shouldn't be afraid. I mean, I'm not afraid of going to university, but at the same time, I can also say that, yeah, I would be worried about accents, but it sounds like she's just afraid anyway, doesn't it? And she says she felt her fellow students would take her opinions less seriously and that she was perceived as stupid. I have no comment to make on that. Right. The UK has a hierarchy, remember the R silent, hierarchy of accents. Right. We'll just read a bit of this. It says here people draw conclusions about everything based on someone's accent, and they do it really fast, says Dr. Mary Robinson. Okay. It says here participants in new research by the University of Cambridge and Nottingham, Trent University said they thought people with some regional accents were more likely to behave in certain ways. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would be frightened uh, if you put me with some accents. It says here, of the 10 accents studied, Glaswegians, people from Glasgow in Scotland, were perceived as most likely to stand up for someone who is being harassed. No, no, Glaswegians are more likely to punch you in the face, I think. You're not the kind of people you want to be around. People with Scouse, that's Liverpool, accents were seen as most likely to commit crimes. Oh no, I'd say Glaswegians there. And people with standard southern British English accents were viewed as most likely to report a relative to the police for a minor offence. Yeah, I would say all of that's true. And then it talks about why. So it says here accents from industrialized urban areas like Glasgow and Birmingham are often seen as low status. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, which is why you don't want to be around them. Um, she says here, this is this woman called Beth. She says, when she was growing up, her parents were aware of how black country accents were perceived and encouraged her to disguise her accent. Birmingham, this is the Birmingham accent. Birmingham, all right, my love, all right. Yeah, yeah, many people do think that they have a low intelligence. Um, it's because they were heavily industrial and, it's hard to move on from that. People here, where I am currently, are the same. Um, this woman, the doctor, she says she's witnessed students being laughed at in seminars for the way they speak. Yeah, I've witnessed that. Yeah, as a teacher, I've come across many different accents. I have to say though, some people do play on accent to get what they want. Like if I want to get anything done here, I know I have to speak with a strong Scottish accent. Otherwise, people will think that I'm being polite. But if I want someone to dislike me or think that I'm English, which my accent is, then of course they will, if I speak to them in an English accent, they might not like it. Anyway, it says here, I've modified my accent down a lot, she says. I've had people call in radio shows that I've been on saying, if you're going to have someone talking about language, you should have someone who knows how to speak properly. Uh, we have regional accents everywhere, and some of them are very hard to understand. And that's one of the reasons why I speak with an English accent. I mean, part of it is because, of course, I went to school in England, but the other part is because I try to make sure I speak using colloquial English, colloquial London, receive pronunciation, very clear when I'm teaching, and I particularly avoid the Scottish accent. I don't think it's very nice. It's a bit too hard for my tastes. And only when I'm at university or in a crowd of Scottish people will I change to a Scottish accent. Otherwise, they would certainly treat me differently. Right. This is a long story, so we're not going to uh, go over all of this, but there are people here who talk about other accents as well. Particularly, we have a TV show here called "The Only Way Is Essex." It's another thing, a TV show for you to look at. The Essex accent is also quite strong. And this woman goes on to talk about it. Okay, so if you want to read this in full, all you have to do is to put hierarchy of accents into the BBC search box, and I'm sure you'll find it. And it has Beth's face there. There she is, Beth. Um, yeah, and I'm sure there will be other people who are judging her by her appearance, because in a first glance there, some people would point out that she doesn't look like she should be a British. But let me tell you something, there is no such thing as a British look. There are white people, there are black people, there are people of all walks of life. And please, please, please don't try to define a British identity by skin color or by looking like like me. It doesn't work, okay? And it's not very nice, it's politically incorrect, and you can get into a lot of trouble for trying to do that. So, Britain is a very diverse place, and soon, hopefully this weekend or next week, you're going to be getting a podcast of me interviewing my friend Naz. Naz is a British born uh, guy, just like me, native speaker, but his parents were from Pakistan. And we're going to ask him what it's like to be British, because he's as British as I am, but because his skin is a bit darker, many people assume he's Pakistani, but he's not. And this is something which isn't very nice. And it's rather unfortunate if you're different from the majority, but he's my friend. I don't see skin color, and neither should you. We're all here together, and we're just like America, one big pot of color. And that's the best way to think of it. So we have people of every background here. And my Chinese friend, or one of my Chinese friends, was born here. And it's wrong of me to call him one of my Chinese friends, but that's the way he refers to himself because his parents were Chinese. I have another friend who's British, who was Chinese and got a British passport. So he's British now too. This is Britain. This is diversity. It doesn't make everyone very happy, but that's the way we are. We're very open and we don't use labels to try to work out where people are from. If they're British, they're British, and we're happy. We just accept them with that. At least I do anyway. Right, that's it from me. I hope you've enjoyed this. And let's catch up soon. And as we say here in the UK, don't be a stranger. It means come back soon. Bye.